Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And we are going to start off the week with a massive, and I mean a massive, game announcement. It was announced just today that a sequel to one of the greatest games of all time is getting a sequel, and it is in development right now. Yeah, this is a great way to start off the week, so we'll talk about that one a little bit later on in a video. And then also, PlayStation has been on a bit of an acquisition spree here as of recent, and that is continuing on into March. They did just announce another studio acquisition today, and this one is definitely an interesting one, and it kind of shows you a change in strategy for PlayStation Studios this generation, so we'll go over that one as well. As always though, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit that bell notification, subscribe, and like button below. It does greatly help with the channel, and of course you will also be able to keep up to date with all of the gaming news. Other than that though, let's just go and jump right into the video, starting off with Babylon's Fall. Now, as we all kind of know by this point, the first 3 months of 2022 has been pretty busy for games. There's been a lot of good games to release so far this year, to say the least. But in the middle of all that, there was also Babylon's Fall. Now, Babylon's Fall is a bigger style of game developed by Platinum Games, which I actually really like Platinum Games. They make good single-player driven content such as Nier Automata. I absolutely love that game. They've also released games such as Astral Chain, there was Wonderful 101, Bayonetta, but Babylon's Fall is a little bit different. This is more of your live service style of game. And well, the thing about these style of games is that you need a pretty active community to be able to support these for the long term. And so far, Babylon's Fall is really struggling with that aspect. You can actually take a look over at Steam charts where you can see the 24-hour peak for Babylon's Fall right now is just 272 players. That is pretty abysmal considering this game is not even a month old, so that's not a good sign. And now the big question is there actually going to be continued development for this game? Again, it's supposed to be a live service game, and well, they actually did issue a statement over on Twitter about this topic, and you can actually take a look over here saying that, is the continuing service in danger? And they say, no, there are no plans to reduce the scale of development on Babylon's Fall. Content up to the end of Season 2 is now practically complete, and we have started work on Season 3 and beyond. So there you have it. Regardless on whether or not this game has a big community or not, it does look like there's going to be more seasons for Babylon's Fall, and hopefully it sees improvement when it comes to that. But the fact that they had to issue a statement about this, unprompted by the way, it just kind of goes to show you how poorly this game has performed so far. But at the very least, it looks like Season 2 is practically complete. Moving on, something else that's been garnering a lot of concern over the last couple of days would be the Nintendo Wii eShop. And yes, we are talking about the original Nintendo Wii, and that is because the eShop has been inaccessible over the last couple of days. Now, technically, the Wii eShop closed back in 2019, meaning you can no longer buy new content. However, even though you couldn't necessarily buy new content, what you could do is actually go back and re-download the content that you had already purchased. So if you didn't have enough storage space, as an example, and you wanted to uninstall something and then go back and re-download it later, you were still able to do that. But now with the Wii eShop being inaccessible, you can't really do that either. Now, it is important to keep in mind that we have not heard anything from Nintendo as of yet. They're not issuing any type of statement. They're not talking about maintenance for the Wii eShop or really anything. So with that in mind, there's no confirmation that the Wii eShop is just gone forever, or if it'll come back in the coming days. Hopefully, it will return here sometime soon. I can't imagine that Nintendo would make this type of decision without giving fans some type of heads up, but that really is the thing. I feel like while this story might not get a ton of attention, I do think that it is important, especially if you buy your content digitally. Over the last couple of years, we have seen multiple digital storefronts go away, including the Wii, the 3DS, and the Wii U is currently being shut down. Then you had the PlayStation 3 and the Vita last year. Sony tried to axe those, but they actually backtracked on that one. But we are starting to see some of these storefronts go away. And in a situation like Nintendo, they're not reassuring their fans really at all that you're going to be able to re-download the content that you'd previously purchased 10, 15, 20 years from now. So it's just something important to keep in mind when you buy digital content. If you do care about playing these games decades from now, then you might want to find a way to store these games on multiple hard drives at the very least. Next up, we did get an update for Metroid Dread, and leading up to the release of this game, this was a big topic as there was a lot of discussion on whether or not Metroid Dread could end up being the best-selling entry for the entire franchise. I very much do believe that that will end up being the case because, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. That Switch effect is a very real thing, and so far, all signs are pointing to, yes, this very much could end up happening sooner rather than later. Thanks to Christopher Dring and GFK Data, we've now gotten an update on Metroid Dread where he had this to say over on Twitter. Metroid Dread is now the third biggest Metroid game in UK history behind Metroid Prime and Prime 3. It's already the UK's best-selling 2D Metroid. This doesn't include digital sales, so it's quite likely it's now or will soon be the #1 Metroid overall, according to GFK Data. So there you have it. While this isn't necessarily worldwide numbers, this is just specifically in the UK, but even then, this is a good indication on just how well this game has done so far. And that is one important factor to keep in mind here is that this is just the physical units sold. With how much digital has grown in recent years, there's a good chance that Metroid Dread has already become the best-selling Metroid entry in the franchise over in the UK. Of course, we don't have a confirmation on that just yet, but even then, it's still really good to hear that Metroid Dread is continuing to do well over in the UK, and the fact that this game has already become the best-selling 2D entry in the franchise, this is a really good sign going forward. If you do like these 2D entries, maybe we can see more 2D Metroids in the future. Hopefully we won't have to wait another decade plus for the next 2D Metroid game. All right, so let's go move on over to our next topic, and I think a lot of people are probably going to be pretty happy about this one, and that is because CD Projekt Red has just confirmed that a new Witcher game is in development. Yes, it is now official, and this just kind of came out of nowhere, but they did confirm that a new Witcher game is in development, though this does bring on a lot of questions. We'll kind of get into all that here in just a moment, but first, let's actually take a look at their official statement made here. They do make a statement here saying that we're happy to announce that the next installment in the Witcher series of video games is currently in development, kicking off a new saga for the franchise. Now that is actually the first big question here. What characters will we be following in this new saga? I think we all kind of knew that Geralt's story is over. They've actually said this in the past. So a new saga is indicating at the very least that we are looking at a new protagonist. However, are we going to be playing as an already established character such as Ciri, or are they going to be creating a brand new character for this new saga here? That is unconfirmed, but if you do take a look at the picture here, you can see that we're no longer following the School of Wolf. Instead, it looks like we're following the School of the Cat, which does have different values. As an example, they'll even train elves in the School of the Cat, so it's hard to tell what the protagonist will be here in this new Witcher game. For that matter, we don't even know if this is a sequel or if it's a prequel. That all just kind of remains to be seen. Nonetheless, the medallion that they're showing here and the fact that it's not a wolf this time could actually be a tease as to what to expect with this game in the future. Though that is one thing to keep in mind here, this game is probably still pretty far into the future. While yes, they are confirming the development of this new Witcher entry, it's still probably years and years away. There was, however, a few other interesting details about this statement made though, because you can actually take a look over here where they said, this is an exciting moment as we're moving from Red Engine to Unreal Engine 5, beginning a multi-year strategic partnership with Epic Games. It covers not only licensing, but technical development of Unreal Engine 5, as well as potential future versions of Unreal Engine where relevant. We'll closely collaborate with Epic Games developers with the primary goal being to help tailor the engine for open world experiences. Now this is interesting really for a few different reasons. One being that they've been using Red Engine since Witcher 2, so this is the first time that they've switched engines in a very long time, but I think after we saw what happened with Cyberpunk 2077 and all of the different issues that they had, that this is overall a net positive. And the reason I say that is because it very specifically says in a statement that Epic developers will be helping out with this game. And that means that with their help, maybe, just maybe, they won't run into as many technical problems this time around. So I'm going to view this as an overall good thing. But that is the other part about this, is because they did announce a strategic partnership with Epic Games as well. And that has caught a lot of fans by surprise. And the big concern that comes with that is is this game going to be exclusive to the Epic Game Store? I mean, the Epic Game Store has gotten a lot of exclusives over in the last couple of years, and I mean, the PC fan base doesn't exactly like that storefront too much. So I'm very happy to say here that that does not appear to be the case with the upcoming Witcher. They do in fact say over on Twitter that we are not planning on making the game exclusive to one storefront. So definitely good to hear on that front. There you have it, though. I mean, there's still a lot of questions about this game, and it's probably still years and years away, but the fact that we are getting a new entry to what many people view as one of the greatest franchises of all time is definitely exciting, to say the least. I just hope this time around that they've kind of learned from the mistakes they made with Cyberpunk 2077 and don't repeat those once again. We know that this new Witcher entry is going to have a ton of hype. There's no way around that, but something that I am kind of looking at is the fact that they are changing engines here to Unreal Engine 5, and they're also getting help from Epic Games developers, so hopefully that keeps them away from having all the technical issues that we saw with Cyberpunk 2077. On to our final topic of the day, though. PlayStation just acquired yet another studio. This is something that we have seen them do a lot here in recent years, and in fact, this is their 8th studio acquisition in the last 31 months. They've acquired Insomniac Games, which is probably still their best acquisition as of yet. They also acquired Housemarque, Nix's Software, Bluepoint Games, that one's pretty exciting, Firesprite, Valkyrie Entertainment, Bungie, and now, most recently, they've acquired Haven Studios. Now, this is a really interesting one because this is a newly formed studio headed up by Jade Raymond. Jade Raymond is most well known for her work over at Ubisoft, working on games like Assassin's Creed 2, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist, Watch Dogs, and even Far Cry 4, so she definitely has a good pedigree of games there. Since then, though, Jade Raymond has tried to form her own studio, and she was kind of unlucky the first time around. She just really had the wrong partner. She did partner up with Google Stadia, and as we all kind of know, Google shut down all of their internal studios. Luckily, though, she did get a second chance here at building her own studio. Sony did originally announce a strategic partnership to help them establish the studio so they could work on a game exclusively for PlayStation, but well, they must be really impressed with whatever this game is, because now they just flat out acquired Haven today. Now, this does tell you two different things, though. One being, like I just said, they must be very impressed with whatever this game is that they're working on. But also, that is the big part here, because one thing that we do know about this game is that it is a live service multiplayer game. That's literally the only thing that we know about it, but this is a trend that we are starting to see with PlayStation as of this moment. They are investing a lot into these live service games. Here recently, it was revealed that Sony is planning more than 10 live service games before March 2026. We've seen them acquire studios like Bungie, and now here with Haven, which is working on their own multiplayer live service game. So it does show you that Sony right now is fully committed to these style of games. Now, that is a change for PlayStation. Typically, this is a publisher that is more well-known for their single-player story-driven content, but it does seem like they're trying to diversify their portfolio just a little bit more here with these multiplayer-centric style of games. Now, a part of that, I'm sure, is probably because they saw just how much money Fortnite was making them last generation, so they might want their own big money-making game here that they don't have to share any of that profit with any of these other publishers. So I'm sure that that does play a part in it, but again, whatever it is that Haven is making, they must be impressed with this game, or else they would not have acquired this studio. I mean, we already knew that Jade Raymond was talented, but with this, I feel like that's a pretty good indictment on, yeah, maybe we should actually be excited for this upcoming game that they are working on. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, and we did have a huge announcement last week as well, being Hogwarts Legacy. That is that upcoming Harry Potter game that is releasing later this year in 2022, will be out this holiday. But I wanted to ask you all, after seeing a gameplay overview of the upcoming Hogwarts Legacy, are you interested in buying it later this year? And as you can clearly see here, the majority of you all are very much interested in this game, with 54% of you saying yes, while 33% of you said no. So yeah, it does look like a lot of you all were pretty happy with what you saw with Hogwarts Legacy last week, and I have to agree in this situation. It does look like a very good and ambitious game. I mean, really, Harry Potter is one of the biggest franchises ever made, so even last year whenever they first revealed this game, and that was just a teaser that basically showed next to nothing, it had 28 million views over on the PlayStation channel. That is pretty crazy alone right there, and it goes to show you how much attention this game was already getting. But the fact that it seems like it's met expectations with the overview, it genuinely looks really good, and I think that it's kind of a dream come true for a lot of fans that grew up on this franchise. Again, you got to remember that this is one of the biggest franchises of all time, and I think that it is such a good transition from the books to this, because with this and you creating your own character in an RPG style world, you're going to be able to live in this universe that you have been dreaming about your whole life. I think this is a perfect transition, and it also goes to show you why video games are so powerful. This is something that you could not do when it comes to movies or books, but instead this is going to be able to put you into that universe in a meaningful way. To say the least, yes, I am excited for this game as well. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.